The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. The mother of Jesus and his brothers arrive at the house. Standing outside, they sent word to Jesus and called him. A crowd seated around him told him, "Your mother and your brothers and your sisters are outside asking for you." And he said to them in reply, "Who are my mother and my brothers?" And looking around at those seated at the circle, he said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother." The Gospel of the Lord. I want to share with you some stats. I share these stats not to boast, but rather to tell a broader story. Especially to those people who think, oh, religion is bad. Oh, the Catholic Church is so bad. Bad. I want you to hear these stats. The Catholic Church worldwide, we run 18,000 clinics, 16,000 homes for the elderly and people and kids with special needs. We run 5,500 hospitals, and 65% of these are in developing countries. And according to the Pontifical Council for Healthcare at the Vatican, we run 26% of the world's healthcare facilities. 26%. We are the largest private healthcare provider in the entire world. Again, why? In fact, it's a pretty simple plan, and it goes back to the very beginning, even the earliest days of the Roman Empire. Whenever, as Catholics, we go into a new place to evangelize, we do two things very, very predictably. We build a hospital and we build a school. That is why if you talk to Father Reggie, guess who in India runs the finest universities in that country? All of the politicians send their kids to these schools. Guess who runs it? Father Reggie's religious congregation. And I guess it's the same thing over and over. We repeat this pattern. And why, even related to what we talked about yesterday, if you were here at Mass, why is the Catholic Church on the forefront of the abortion issue? Well, it's the same reason why we built all of these hospitals in the first place. Every single human being has dignity. It's that simple. Every single human person is created in God's image and likeness. And as we beautifully hear in the gospel today, Jesus says, "Who are my mother, my brothers, and my sisters? Are those who do the will of God." He's hearkening back all the way to Deuteronomy chapter 26, when Moses was talking to the Israelite people. He says, when tells the people, he says, "Follow all of God's commandments. And those who do the will of God will inherit the kingdom." You know when Mother Teresa, and she talks about this beautifully, how she started the Missionaries of Charity. She says she went to Calcutta, and she was walking around the streets of Calcutta, and she saw the first person she remembers picking up off the streets was an old man lying in a gutter. And she even says that his wounds, and this is a graphic image, that his wounds were festering, and they were covered with maggots. And Mother Teresa went to him and picked him up out of the street and began removing by her hands the maggots off his wounds. And the man looked at Mother Teresa and said, "Why are you doing this?" The same reason why we started hospitals and schools and why we fight against abortion. The great saint we recall today is Saint Marrianne Cope, a German nun who moved to the United States during that time period when the Germans and the Italians and the Irish were all coming over. Her congregation was called the Sisters of St. Joseph. That religious community alone, they started 50 hospitals. The Bishop of Honolulu sent a call all across the United States. We need to help the lepers on the island of Molokai. Again, why? Because what was the government's solution to the lepers of Molokai? Just put them there. Out of sight, out of mind. We'll give them food and shelter for free, but just put them there. Sister Cope said, I will go. And her with a small group of sisters went to the island of Molokai. For 35 years, Mother helped the lepers, living with them, touching them. Again, why? It's the same reason why the church is the largest healthcare provider in the entire world. Because every single human being has profound dignity and value. Remember these stats. Not to boast to your neighbors or your friends or to show, how amazing the Catholic Church is. No. It's because we're striving to follow the will of God. And the person in front of us who is in need is God in front of us. And I'll end here with another beautiful quote. Mother Teresa was once asked, why do you do what you do? Because Mother Teresa sends her sisters to the worst parts of the world, by the way. She sends them to the darkest, the most vile, the most violent places on earth. She sends her little sisters there. And they asked her, a reporter asked her, why do you do what you do? And she was famous. She'd always hold up her hand like this. You did it to me. Quoting Matthew 25.